Previously, on Supergirl's New 52 incarnation, Kara Zor-El crash-landed a ship on planet Earth after being kept in a stasis pod for so long that not only had her home planet of Krypton been destroyed, but also her cousin Kal-El had crash-landed on Earth, grown up, and become the superhero known as Superman.
This revelation sent Kara into such a violent denial that she clashed with Superman despite his futile attempts to reason with her. Eventually, Kara fled into space, where she was contacted by a tech bro named Simon Tycho, who had harvested her ship. Using certain technology and tracking abilities, Tycho managed to point her in the direction of a chunk of Krypton that seemed to survive the explosion, only to attempt to trap Kara for his own experimentation. Kara managed to fight her way out and damaged Tycho's body so much that it had to be combined with an experimental automaton now dubbed the Brain.
The accident also involved a non-dairy powdered creamer.
Kara flew to the chunk of Krypton, which turned out to be her home city of Argo, only to discover that it had been orbiting a blue star that was toxic to all Kryptonians, killing everyone, including her parents. There were some exceptions, however, in the form of the World Killers, a group of genetically augmented Kryptonian super soldiers who began attacking Kara in order to then follow her back to Earth so that they can learn more about Krypton's destruction and also conquer the planet. Eventually, Kara managed to fight them all off. However, in the process, it seems she revealed herself to the general public, and now the military wants answers.
We pick things up with Supergirl trying to accept Earth as her new home and maybe making a few friends along the way. This is Supergirl Volume 2, Girl in the World.
Even though she's exhausted from her fight with the World Killers, Kara has no time to rest as the military is encroaching upon her. She's unable to reason with them due to the language barrier, however help soon arrives in the form of an Irish immigrant named Siobhan Smythe. Siobhan somehow knows Kryptonian and is able to try to translate, to no real avail. Finally, after a brief skirmish, Kara decides to just grab Siobhan and take off. However, her powers have fully recovered, and so she's forced to settle down in the Flatiron Building in order to rest.
Maybe they'll end up having a crossover event where they meet Damage Control from Marvel Comics, who are also based out of the Flatiron Building.
Siobhan properly introduces herself to Kara and demonstrates that she's always had the ability to translate any language with a group of pigeons. Kara explains her situation, which results in Siobhan offering her a place to crash just as soon as the military finally stands down. Kara takes a brief moment to disable a pursuit chopper and then flies Siobhan back to her apartment. Naturally, there's reports all over the TV news about Supergirl, the press's name for Kara due to her outfit. Family isn't something either young woman is willing to talk about at this time, as Kara notices a couple of Celtic runes on Siobhan's arms.
Just ignore the fact that runes are written Norse language. The Celts never actually had a written language, so it doesn't really make much sense. Yes, this will pay off later.
Still, Siobhan is willing to treat Kara to a night on the town in New York City and a free performance at a local coffee house. She gives Kara a change of clothes and a backpack to hold the costume, and the two head out. The change of outfit is enough for Kara to fit in amongst the general populace. However, the ambiance of New York City begins to overwhelm her abilities. Kara takes in Siobhan's performance, enjoying it despite not knowing the language, or even noticing the guy trying to hit on her. However, that all changes when the said patron begins wailing out and his jaws extending. Siobhan flips out and begins trying to pull Kara to safety, as it turns out her father has somehow located her, and soon a being calling himself the Black Banshee appears. Siobhan now begins screaming and contorting herself as Kara prepares for a fight, only to get tossed aside. She's halted by Siobhan, who has now assumed the form of the Silver Banshee.
In the pre-DC New 52 continuity, the Silver Banshee was Siobhan McDougal, who was passed over for being head of her clan due to being a woman, and thus began practicing dark arts, eventually making a pact with a demon who granted her the powers to become the Silver Banshee. This new Silver Banshee is Siobhan Smythe, who inherited the mantle from her father, who was the Black Banshee, and who wishes to merge with her in order to use her powers for not good purposes. Although it is kind of confusing, the idea of the Banshee being evil. Banshees are basically heralds of the death of a family member and really hold no type of political juncture at any point. They just exist for that purpose.
Siobhan's older brother Tommy attempted to override the Black Banshee by sacrificing himself to him, which he thought would neutralize Siobhan's powers. Obviously that didn't work, as we return to the present of 2012. However, the Black Banshee now wants to absorb Siobhan and merge powers. Siobhan manages to incapacitate her father by letting loose a giant scream long enough for her and Kara to run into the alley, where Kara changes into her costume.
Boy, I hope there weren't any bystanders or people passing by that alley who were suddenly surprised by the sight of a naked Kara changing into her costume. Then again, it is New York City, so maybe no one would have noticed.
As the Black Banshee blasts the two young ladies out into the street, he explains that Kara's presence in the vicinity of Shaban allowed him to discern her location. Added to that, his attack has caused Kara's powers to begin fluctuating out of control again. They even corrupt Shaban, causing her to lash out at Kara and Kryptonian. Kara's powers surge to the point that her whole body begins heating up and glowing. Feeling that she might actually explode, Kara elects to charge right into the Black Banshee, allowing him to absorb her powers. The next thing Kara knows, she awakens back on Krypton with her parents Zor-El and Allura. However, this is really all a dream, as Kara remembers these events taking place as she was preparing for an exam so that she could participate in a matchmaking ceremony for an arranged marriage.
Make me a match!
Kara begins voicing her displeasure about marrying someone she's never met, and her mother takes her out into a volcano field where she turns into the Black Banshee in the form of a Kryptonian flame dragon. However, Kara still possesses much of her power, which manifests in the form of power armor, which serves to protect her as the dragon blasts her off the platform and down into a volcano below. The next thing she knows, Kara is in a small pond being pulled to safety by none other than Tommy Smythe, Shaban's brother. Tommy also has the ability to speak Kryptonian, possibly due to his father's magic, and he figures out that some years have passed and that the Banshee curse actually didn't leave Shaban. Kara uses her abilities to manifest a power sword, and the two take off to lure the dragon into position for Kara to jump onto its back and deliver a killing blow. This results in Tommy, Kara, and the souls of all others absorbed by the Black Banshee to be expelled. This also limits the Black Banshee's powers enough for Shaban to step in and begin absorbing them. However, she soon becomes corrupted by his evil. Tommy is forced to talk Shaban down and get her to return to normal. However, Kara soon realizes that he can no longer speak Kryptonian. As the authorities begin to arrive, Kara grabs the two and returns them back to her apartment. Over the next few weeks, Kara spends the time adjusting to life on Earth and learning about the importance of personal boundaries as she walks in on Tommy in the shower. This is her known limit of teasing from Shaban, who has picked up that Tommy is smitten with Kara, and she arranges for the two to go out on a date of sorts. The two head out for pizza, which Kara steals from a waitress, and try to learn more about each other, even though they still have a language barrier, as Kara still has not grasped much English. This all comes to a halt when Kara's powers begin fluctuating again, and a cop nearby starts attacking Tommy for no reason, soon revealing an alternate form.
This is a newly designed power armor from Simon Tycho, the tech bro that Kara clashed with back in Volume 1, who now calls himself the Brain.
Sorry.
Yes, always. I'm always past that.
Anyway, the suit is constructed of Kryptonian nanobots that have given it a morphogenic form, which allows it to change shape, take the form of liquid, even duplicate itself.
The soldier freezes Tommy and several others by covering them with nanobots, as Kara once more exposes herself to innocent bystanders by changing into her costume in public. She attempts to just launch the soldier into orbit, but he has enough control to steer the two back to Earth. Even Kara's heat vision is of little use, as the nanobots can duplicate, heal the armor, and even duplicate themselves. Finally, Kara uses her X-ray vision to isolate the power core of the suit, which is located in the soldier's brain, and attempt to take it out with a heat blast. It works a little too well, as the man is effectively lobotomized. He's still alive, but he's just not really there anymore. Tommy and the others are returned to normal as the press begin calling for Supergirl to have an interview. However, Kara is left intensely worried as this individual is obviously able to track her down in civilian form, meaning that she can't really hang around with Shaban and Tommy anymore, as that would put them in danger as well. Kara bids the siblings a tearful goodbye as she goes off to find the one person who may actually have answers.
Yes, Superman is finally popping up again for the first time since the first issue. However, Kara is still in denial that he's actually the grown version of her cousin Kal-El. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Kara meets with Kal-El at the Fortress of Solitude, where he gives her a tour while they wait for the computer to finish a diagnostic check. He admits that he doesn't really know too much about Krypton, as he has no real memories of the place. That being said, he's more than willing to stand by Kara and help her to adjust to life on Earth. However, this is something she really just wants to do on her own right now. The Fortress's computer is able to track the trajectory of Kara's pod, which crashed in Kansas, plowed all the way through the Earth's crust, and wound up in Russia. However, before that, it turns out that the pod was orbiting Earth's yellow sun for at least 5 years, exposing Kara to inordinate amounts of pure solar radiation, which is why her powers are amped up to beyond control.
Basically, the fact that Kara was in orbit around Earth's sun for so long, she got exposed to basically pure, unadulterated solar radiation, which is why her powers are so hyped up and fluctuate randomly. Basically, Superman is on Earth, and that was filtered through Earth's atmosphere, so he absorbed the radiation more slowly and was able to develop the powers over time. Kara basically got everything all at once.
The computer also reveals that another part of Kara's ship broke off and landed in the Atlantic Ocean. Kal-El is willing to help Kara recover it, mainly because he wants her to stay behind and permanently reside in the Fortress of Solitude. She snaps and attacks him as it appears that he doesn't trust her, and she winds up leaving to find the pod on her own. As she nears the location pointed out on the computer, she begins hearing a Kryptonian voice calling to her. Kara dives into the ocean and begins generating energy for her body to light the way through the murky depths. She soon finds herself in a cavern where she's attacked by a giant tentacle creature.
Yes, apparently there was a great need for more hentai references in 2012.
The voice scares the creature away, explaining to Kara that these are deep-sea fish that were augmented by Kryptonian radiation. She soon finds her way into what appears to be her own version of the Fortress of Solitude, where the voice explains that it, too, managed to learn Kryptonian as it discovered this place. It's also learned Kara's backstory and is willing to explain it to her, as the voice is revealed to be none other than that of Simon Tycho, aka the Brain.
Yes!
Okay, so at this point we go into a special Zero issue, basically a Supergirl annual, that delves into Kara's backstory and life on Krypton and her father Zor-El's chance to save their home city of Argo. Now, there's no scenes actually depicting this, but I would imagine this is being relayed to her in the present by Simon Tycho.
Much like his brother Jor-El, Zor-El was a high-ranking Kryptonian scientist out to study the tectonic overactivity that had been plaguing the planet. However, the familial bonds had been quite strained, as Zor-El operated mainly out of the eyes of the Kryptonian Science Council, who he felt only existed to interfere in his research. Still, Kara would make frequent trips to the El household in order to play with her newly born cousin Kal-El. That being said, when Jor-El made his discovery of Kryptonia's impending collapse and destruction, he desperately tried to contact Zor-El to detail plans for the family's survival. However, Zor-El never returned the calls, even though he agreed with his brother's research. The fact of the matter is, Zor-El had a bigger plan for the family's survival. One that was so big it needed to be kept away from the prying eyes of the Kryptonian Science Council, Allura, and even Kara herself. When the time arrived, Zor-El took Kara into Argo's city to show her the escape pod and specially constructed costume with the family sigil. Unfortunately, while that was playing out, Allura discovered her husband's plan thanks to an unlikely arrival.
Okay, so I believe this is supposed to be the Connor Kent Superboy from the New 52 Teen Titans, as he's wearing a similar outfit that Connor wears in that series. I can't say for certain, and I don't know if it's ever actually revealed. Anyway, Zor-El's real big plan here is that he's going to send Kara off to Earth. She'll get the radiation powers from the Earth's yellow sun. She will then come back where he's protected Argo City in this dome that has hopefully saved everyone, and she'll be able to save her planet and begin restarting the Kryptonian race. Obviously, if you remember the events of Volume 1, it didn't work out too well.
It turned out that Zor-El had drugged Kara's outfit with a sedative so she wouldn't resist, as he explained that the High Council had tapped their phones and so he couldn't work with his brother in trying to find a remedy. As he placed Kara in the pod, Laura burst in and tried to stop the launch, blasting Zor-El with a stun ray, but he was strong enough to hit the launch button before Laura could get their daughter out. The pod launched and, well, you pretty much know the rest of the story.
And that concludes our look at Supergirl Volume 2, Girl in the World. How was it? Well, on the plus side, I do think there's kind of a fun slice-of-life element to this. I do think the title, Girl in the World, is actually appropriate, at least for the first half of the book. Supergirl trying to find her way, making friends. The Smythes, Tommy and Shaban, are a very nice addition to this and do add some much-needed humor and levity to this book. I'd say the artwork is very well done. It's not overly exploitative. It's not uber-sexualized, that sort of thing. And I think it does a good job of conveying a lot of the story, which is nicely, briskly paced overall. There's not really a lot of dead spots in here. I do think this is a very well done story. if there is a major drawback, I would say it's the zero issue. It just, again, I really wish there had just been a little wraparound device with Simon Tycho to explain, like, oh, he's relaying this information to Kara as to what happened, rather than, you know, again, it just being told. Like, okay, now it just feels out, it makes the whole thing feel out of place. If you, like I said, if you just put that wraparound in there, okay, this is a continuation of what happened at the end of the issue. Instead, it, like I said, it just makes it feel a bit disjointed. And this last bit's a minor nitpick, I know, but again, like, Kara changing in public is kind of strange, and I do think there's maybe a lack of Superman in this. I wish there were a bit more of a, you know, Kal-El trying to get in contact with her, she not wanting to talk to him. Just a little bit more stuff like that I think would have helped, again, give more of that slice of life feel to it. That being said, overall, this is a very fun read. I am going to give Supergirl Volume 2, Girl in the World, a B. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Hey guys, remember you can help support the channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. There you can request a tray to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. And as always, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.